Welcome to GigaCast episode 32 for Sunday, October 27th. Live to tape from Boston, Massachusetts, I'm Britton Johnson.
And broadcasting from the VMware Fox Crossing office, I'm Tony Reeves.
Okay, this is our second take. Tony, how are you?
Doing good. How you doing, bro? I haven't seen you in a while.
It's been another long, crazy day. Yeah, we haven't talked in, I don't even know. I was thinking it was before VMworld.
Yeah, it's been a while. We've both been on the road, buddy. How you doing?
I'm just kind of beginning my road travels. You've been going through all of them, but I'm in Boston for some low internal team training this week, and then
cool.
I've got
anything you can share there?
Full weeks that I'm going to be going after this. So
cool. Anything you can share for the training you're doing this week?
It's just a thing that they offered to put on special for me and one other new NSX SE in our team. Cool. So it's just kind of, a couple of peers on our team getting together, and we're just going to go through all our stuff and talk about various things in the NSBU, how we do things internally, whatnot. I really don't know a whole lot of ins and outs on it because it's not really super formal. It's just kind of
catching you up kind of thing.
Yeah, just sort of a quick catch up, this is how things work kind of training. So,
awesome. And you were just at the Chicago VMUG too, right?
Yes. So that was good. I was there for some customer lunch roundtable thing that we did for healthcare customers. And then just kind of got to hang out and schmooze with the community crowd for a little while and the rest of the day. It's always good. The Chicago VMUG's always a good time. It's a lot of interesting good people to show up. I talked to your buddy Phil for a little while.
Oh yeah. Phil and I were together just a day earlier for some customer meetings, and then he was heading over to do a speaking slot at Chicago VMUG. I had some other customer meetings, otherwise I would have loved to have been there, but
apparently Phil has been filling in for all of these speaking slots that my brother Heath was supposed to be doing everywhere.
Oh,
slacker.
Yes. I was just going to say slacker.
And there's our guest, our last minute special guest today, Kevin. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you, Brenton?
Good. Thanks for jumping out of your kitchen tile job.
Yeah, fresh from the diamond saw, we have Mr. Kevin T-Bear. How you doing?
No injuries so far today, so that's good.
Still have all your fingers?
Have all your fingers.
I think. No, this one's going much better than some other work that I've had to do. Good. I think we were talking earlier about laying vinyl plank flooring, and that's when I put a razor blade through the backside of my hand. But,
that's fun.
Save you the details.
I was a year or two ago, I was trying to build some shelves in the basement and nearly cut off my index finger.
That is, for some reason, it's always my left index finger area that seems to get the brunt of the damage. I put a knife through the side of my index finger when I did my deck a couple years ago.
Dang.
Wow.
And now when I did flooring again, backside of the hand, I figured next time will just be the whole wrist.
So you want to come help me put up some vinyl plank flooring in here and get rid of the green shag carpeting here in the office?
I'm good.
Don't want another injury?
No, absolutely not.
Well, hey, Tony, you can come down and help me put vinyl plank in my wife's office, and then you'll know how to do it.
Yeah, maybe I'll just learn on YouTube.
Oh, come on. No fun.
Nice.
So, all right. We have like no
structured plan
plan or topic today. At some point, we'll get a little bit of teasing information from Kevin on the latest Cloud Foundation release. So in your, how many weeks or months have you been in VMworld now, Tony? Or VMware? Jeez, VMworld.
I have officially been on board over 6 months now. Just a hair over 6 months. Yeah. It's gone by quick.
I think I'm officially 3 now. I must be like exactly 3 months behind you.
Nice. Yeah, it goes by quick. That's for sure. I finally feel like I can hold my head above water a little bit and tread some water instead of just getting drowned all the time. So, I mean, things are getting better, getting more comfortable in the role, getting more comfortable in front of customers. That's really the most fun part of the job for me anyway, is
right.
seeing how customers are using our products, what they're doing, how we can help them. That's really the meat of the job for me. It's and there's a lot of travel, a lot of regional travel now that a lot of my kind of like the big trainings, the big corporate trainings are kind of out of the way. But there's still, like you're talking about your onboarding, your NSX onboarding training that you're doing this week in Boston. There's a lot of those little pockets of training there, here and there as well. But it's going good, staying busy.
What so I'm here for this week, and then next week I'm in the Colorado office for a full week of training. They're doing this they call it the SDDC SE, used to be known as the SE new hire training. But it's done by a couple of guys there, and it's specific like SDDC track focus for SEs. I guess they only offer it, maybe once or twice a year. I don't know if have you been to the Broomfield office for anything yet, Tony, or not?
I have not. No, I've been to Palo Alto a couple of times.
You probably could have got on
Austin office, and then Dallas for official training stuff.
Okay. Yeah, because I have to do that one, and then I fly home for basically 36 hours, and then I leave and go back to Palo Alto for a week.
Yikes.
And then I'm going to come home and take 3 days off.
Yeah, I would too.
This is basically, this will be the most travel in the most shortest amount of time I've ever done. That's ridiculous.
Were any of those for start training Britain? Or?
Yeah, the last week, the middle of November is my start training week in Palo Alto.
Okay.
Yeah, start training's fun. Start training's fun, and then you get the full campus tour and the campus scavenger hunt, and there's a lot of good stuff out of that. I think you'll enjoy that training.
Training for me is always kind of hit or miss. Because
it depends on who's delivering the content, right?
Well, yeah, there's that, but like I'm such a gearhead that like unless I'm like doing stuff, it's really hard for me to gain knowledge and concepts about stuff that people are talking about, or just working through or reading or any of that kind of stuff.
I agree.
Hands-on learner
as well.
Right.
Hands-on learner, right?
Yep.
I'm a two. In my old age, I'm almost 39. I have figured out this far in life that I am an audible learner and a hands-on learner. Those are like my two primary ways of gaining and retaining knowledge. So, which is a primary reason and driver that I want to do a podcast, because it's much easier for me to spit out stuff, and then I can listen to myself talk about it later, and I can retain it easier. But yeah.
So how long have you been with VMware now, Kevin?
I knew you were going to ask that question. I was calculating.
Yeah, you were.
Might have to go to the whiteboard behind me here and do some math.
There you go.
Let's see here. I think it's just almost 5.5 years.
Wow.
As of, I think I started in May or June of 2014. I forget the exact date, but May or June of 2014, and yeah, I guess 5.5 years coming up just the next month or so.
So did you get your Vasa cubes at 4 years, or had they already switched over to the artwork by then?
Well, see, if you do some Googling, they had just switched over to artwork. So behind which you can't see right now, is my lovely artwork. But then I did find a set of cubes from the Getty store, because I was like, oh, I really want the cubes as well. So I ended up buying my own set of 4-year cubes. But I definitely like the artwork as well. I get to see that every day, but I get to appreciate the cubes as well. So I guess I have to wait for 8 years now.
Oh yeah, so is it 8 years you still get cubes?
8 years. I believe you still get cubes at 8 years. I'm
Okay.
not sure what size they are. It used to be, I think you got 3 cubes at 4 years that were smaller cubes, and then they went up to a larger size cube at 8 years. However, some people got like one large cube that was like 6 inches by 6 inches. But it was thinner, right? So it was only like an inch or maybe 2 thick. And it had like 4 cubes on the inside of it, like a layering method. And if you are familiar with the Vasa cubes, you know, like all the different colors that show up. Well, it had like 4 cubes going at a diagonal on those. I know some people that got those at 8 years, and other people that just got larger cubes at 8 years. So I think we put that guy through too much work with, what are we, 30,000 employees now?
Well, I think I saw a post on Twitter by William Lamb the other day that they had gone for a while to the larger Vasa cubes, and now they're back to the multiple smaller cubes. So it sounds like they kind of switched back and forth a little bit there.
Yeah. Depends upon how many anniversaries all at one time, I think.
Yeah.
I just noticed something. I'm wearing my Rubric hoodie, courtesy of Mike Nelson, and I've also got a Cohesity water bottle. So we're equal opportunity secondary storage
Nice
vendors tonight.
I'm just wearing my VMware Code shirt and a non-branded glass of water.
I don't have a branded shirt, but I have a Cloud Foundation sticker.
Yeah, I need to get one of those now.
So when are you sending those to me again? You know my address already.
Oh, true. Well, I leave for Barcelona on Friday.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, we'll be there for a week. However, I don't know if you've seen the news on Barcelona lately, but they have
is that
been
still happening?
Quote unquote peaceful protesting. However,
not from what I've seen.
There has been cars on fire, so peaceful bonfires, I guess.
Now, didn't this happen one time in the past? I thought I remember. I'm having like deja vu that Barcelona VMworld in the past had this, and then it kind of settled down as the date approached.
Yeah, it was. I think it was 2 years ago actually that happened, okay. And I remember it vividly because we were walking back to the hotel after working our shift in hands-on labs, and the taxi brought us so far, and then we basically had to walk the rest. And when we're walking up right near Plaza de España, there is a march of people coming down the boulevard. Like if you've been to Barcelona, you know that there's basically 2 lanes going each direction, separated by a giant sidewalk going all the way up to Los Ramblas. And we were met with a sea of people that were peacefully marching towards Plaza de España from Los Ramblas. And yes, it was hurry up and get out of the way, because you didn't want to be a accountability or a victim.
Innocent bystander.
Innocent bystander. Yeah, I'm going to get to the side street and watch this if you don't mind.
Yeah.
And then, some people that I know decided that they should go all out camouflage by the state flag of Catalonia, which is where Barcelona is, tied around their neck like Superman, and just walk with them and blend in. So, yeah, I guess there's 2 approaches.
Yeah, I heard something about this stuff, but I haven't kept up on it and what exactly it's all about. But
I've seen some of the video, and there's like police beating people, and it's it's pretty crazy from some of the video clips I've seen posted on Twitter. So good luck to you, sir. Stay safe out there.
And as I told some of my coworkers, I said, well, if I don't make it back, you can have my rack of servers in the basement, and you can have this, and you can have that.
Nice.
So I guess I have a
You have a geek will?
Yeah, I have a geek will for all the stuff that I have in my basement right now. So that way, it won't go unused.
Who's getting your refrigerator and all your booze?
Oh, wait a second.
You hadn't thought of that.
I don't think the bourbon. I think I'll just get buried with the bourbon.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
But yes, if I have stickers left when I come back from Barcelona, I will send them.
And ironically, he was killed by a Molotov cocktail.
So reads the obituary, right?
Yeah.
He's buried with barrel staves.
Yeah. All right. Well, besides the potential for rampant violence at VMworld Europe, is there anything else that people should be looking forward to coming at VMworld Europe? I mean, there's a lot of big announcements this last one. I can't imagine what else they would be piling on now.
Yeah. So we released Cloud Foundation 3.9 this past week. We were going to save the announcement, the public announcement, for Barcelona, even though it was going to be general availability. I think it went GA last week, Thursday, so that would have been the 24th.
Yep.
So when it went GA, we were told, no public announcements about this because we are in a 30,000 person company, and we need to save announcements for VMworld that were in what was called a quiet period.
Mm-hmm.
However, we were told we're allowed to talk about it because there is many announcements to come at VMworld. What those
publicly
announcements
talk about it?
Yes, publicly talk about Cloud Foundation 3.9 because there's so many other announcements to happen at VMworld in Barcelona that we were able to talk about it even during the quiet period. So,
do you, Kevin? Are you doing any sessions over there this year?
Yeah, I have two. Heath and I are doing a 4-hour workshop, which we basically just get to scratch the surface of Cloud Foundation and talk about, all the things that we're able to do, all the automation that we have within VCF, as well as, some potential use cases, right? Horizon, migration. I think we're going to dabble in PKS and the session in Barcelona, as well as one of the new features, multi-instance management. So lots of content to be delivered with VCF. A 4-hour session, unfortunately, is not enough time.
Yeah. Well, and for those of our listeners that don't know, Heath Johnson is a tech marketing guy over at VMware. He's also a friend of Kevin and I's, and the older brother of Britton Johnson. And he's a tech marketing guy for VCF.
It's like the 4-man Wisconsin Wolfpack here.
I know.
Pretty much, yeah.
We just need to get Ben on here someday. There's a lot of Wisconsin employees.
There is. I guess we'll be able to figure out exactly how many Wisconsin employees at the annual holiday party, if that happens this year. But I think we're over 30 employees in Wisconsin.
Wow.
So
it's getting to be a big event then. Yeah.
Well, I know a lot of people are joking that Wisconsin VMUG is just turning into recruiting for VMware.
Well, yeah, I heard that they are still having a hard time replacing you, Tony. So
for VMUG leader?
Yeah.
Donnie took my slot.
Well, then it's whatever. They think they still have an open slot because people keep leaving and going to VMware.
Well, I know Aaron left first, and then I left, and there was a lot of jokes upon commitment time put on Donnie when he took the reins when I left. So they don't want it to happen 3 times in a row.
I don't think
it's 3 to 6
much
months.
About that,
but yeah. No, I think they made him commit to like a couple of years. Jokingly, of course.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. Where else have we all been lately? Oh, I did do a speaking session and visit up at the North Central Wisconsin VMUG.
Oh yeah, that was what, September 19th?
Yeah, that was Matt Heldstab's big event up there. And Chad. And Mackenzie, who I had not met yet before up there.
Yeah, and Plankers was there. I think Sean Massey was there.
Yeah,
like it was
the usual crowd was there. Yeah. I got there first thing in the morning, and I was doing my one session, which was originally booked as a community session. Then I got hired, and then it became a company session. And that one actually went pretty well. I had maybe like 20 people in the room, and I just kind of went through some customer use cases of stuff for NSX deployments that I've been involved in. But then I get there in the morning, and Chad's just like, our other speaker, Jimmy Ray Purser, he's from Racine, Wisconsin. And if anybody knows Jimmy Ray Purser, I mean, just look this guy up on YouTube. He is hilarious. I mean, he's kind of this down-home country bumpkin network security guy. He used to do videos for Cisco Live and Cisco training. He's a longtime Cisco guy who's been converted and hired by VMware. But he's a super cool guy. I really wanted to meet him, but at the last minute, because of some family stuff, he was not able to make it. And so Chad's just like, "Can you take over his session?" So I'm like, "Sure. What the hey? I'll do 2 sessions." And
nice.
So I download the deck I think he was going to be giving, kind of an NSX 2.2.5 update post VMworld deck, and looked at it for like 5 minutes. Like, well, let's give it the old college try, even though I didn't go to college. And I think probably because he wasn't there, most of the people that bailed on that session went to other sessions. So I had like 3 or 4 people in that one, and so really just kind of turned into the 4 of us just kind of having some general NSX conversations, and really less about what's going on in the slide deck.
So that was affectionately referred to as the fireside chat with Britton Johnson.
Pretty much,
there we go. Yeah. Sometimes those are the best conversations, though, when you put away the slideware.
Yeah, but I had a moment of either genius or stupidity, one of the two. I'm not sure yet. Okay. So before my first session, I anybody who lives in Wisconsin or anywhere near a Culver's, and you have kids, you collect after a while a pile of those free 1 scoop tokens from the kids' meals at Culver's.
Oh yeah, the Scoopy tokens.
Yeah. And I had like probably 40 of them sitting in my car. And so I pulled that thing out, this wad of scoop tokens out. And anybody who asked me a question during my session while I was, going through stuff, it was, anybody that asked a question, they got a free scoop from Culver's. So
that's a good idea.
It encouraged them to be interactive with me, and I got rid of all of the coupons so that I'm not eating all that custard.
Well, Matt Heldstab does beer, but ice cream is a close second.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a beer guy, so I wouldn't know what to give away for that.
But. Yeah, I'm not either, but people love Spotted Cow.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'll be able to keep that up as I do more of these, but that's something that I will try to come up with more creative things to give away. But
Britton Johnson keeping IT guys overweight since 2019.
I know.
I think I probably have a whole bunch of old, well, I don't know if it's old logo, but a whole bunch of VMware swag. I should just bundle it up with a bow and put it on your doorstep, Britton.
Sure, yeah. We actually cleaned off our front porch the other day, so it's nice and clean now.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting on one of these episodes for Kevin, you to just like knock on his door and barge in and during an episode. You guys live so close to each other. I think that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, that's a classic. Hold on a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Don't do it right now because,
Well, you're in Boston.
Yeah. The golden retriever will attack you with kisses.
This is completely off topic, but I saw a Twitter post the other day from you, Britton, or maybe it was LinkedIn. One of the first WAGS dogs that you trained passed away?
Yeah, the first one. Yeah. So, okay. So a bit of history on me. Before my wife and I had kids, I was not a dog person at all. And then very slowly I got converted into being a dog person. And a local service dog organization in Wisconsin, specifically in Madison, called the Wisconsin Academy for Graduate Service Dogs, did a presentation at one of my employer at the time. And so I looked into it, and my wife was super excited about it. And we signed up to be volunteer dog trainers and they specifically do service dogs for people with physical disabilities, so they're wheelchair bound or something to that effect. And so we signed up. They gave us a dog, and like I knew nothing about how to do anything with dogs, and we got like a 6-month-old golden retriever. Somebody else did all the puppy stuff, and we got her, right about 6 months. And so I started taking this dog to work with me every day, and started taking it everywhere we went, basically.
I remember that.
And it was really interesting because like I have always been a very to myself kind of person. I don't like attention, especially in public.
No,
I don't want, yeah, I'm shy, like I say. But the weird thing is, like, when you go out in public with a dog, especially back then when we're training service dogs, real quickly you realize people aren't paying attention to you; they're looking at the dog.
All eyes on the dog.
Yeah, and yeah, so we had her for not quite a year. And she, the way they would do it is you would have whatever dog you were working with at the time, you'd have it for between 6 to 9 months, and then they'd change. So it's a little bit of, you getting to work on different skills with different dogs, and it also gets the dog used to being in different houses, so that by the time they make that transition to their final working home, it's not that big of a deal for them. So yeah, so the first dog that we worked with was a golden retriever named Henna, and super, super sweet dog. She came with a jumping problem that I had to cure. But, working on that for about 2 months, and she was perfect. But she went to a lady who had multiple sclerosis, severe multiple sclerosis. And that's also what introduced me to doing the MS bike ride with you, Tony.
Yeah, that's when we started doing that. I remember. Yeah.
And so, this woman, she was, she was married, she was living a normal life, and she was in her like early 20s, I think. And literally she just woke up one day in bed and couldn't move. And she lost the ability to speak. She couldn't walk. She had to kind of relearn all of this stuff because of the severe MS attack. And so she, had a service dog for a number of years, and then he had to retire. So Henna was actually her second dog. And so Henna worked with her for, I want to say 6 or 7 years, and then she just retired like last year. And so she was, living the good life of a retired service dog, and she just, passed away on her own last week, and, lived a good, healthy life. And I mean, it's bittersweet for me because, I mean, you know, she kind of lived and did her own thing, and then we subsequently we actually got some even more news after that one came. Like the week after, the director of WAGs emailed me, and he's just like, Britton, I know you just heard about this about Henna, but the dog that we had after her, his name was Ian. He actually passed earlier in the summer from cancer for, after battling that for like a few years. And the director from WAGs actually took Ian after us because he was a big giant golden retriever, but he was super excitable, and so he didn't work as a working dog for a person with disabilities, but what his actual job ended up being, which was for him his perfect job. He was the WAGs demo dog, going around and with the executive director from WAGs and doing demonstrations at schools and for middle schools and this kind of stuff. And I mean,
that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, this dog Ian, I mean, they probably did hundreds of demos, introduced service animals to thousands of people, and I mean, realistically, no, not a lot of sadness there either, because I mean, he lived his best perfect life. That dog needed a job, and if I so yeah, so I mean, it makes me feel old that all these dogs that I worked with. I mean, we worked with 7 dogs in 5 years, and we had about 50%. About 50% of them got placed. And then one of them that didn't make it, Jordan, is our current dog, and she's almost 12 years old now. So we're just, as soon as we heard about these two, we looked at Jordan and we're like, oh no, bad things come in threes. But she's in great health, so she should be okay for a while yet. But cool. Yeah, it's weird because, like, I mean, yeah, like, these things that you work on, a number of years ago, all of a sudden it starts to come full circle again, and your past kind of catches up with you, and you realize the impact that these things have made, and it's good and bad at the same time. The thing, like, in the last few years though, that has really driven me personally crazy, and I haven't said a lot about it like publicly on Twitter, but I would really like to go on some tirades now and then, is all of these people with their crazy emotional support animals on airlines and everywhere else, and people showing up with squirrels and peacocks and all this other BS, and just plain pet dogs that are showing up in places where they don't belong. Drives me crazy, because I consider myself, after having 5 years experience training professional service animals, people who want to take their dogs because it just makes them feel better. No, this is not a good idea. It's actually making life harder for people with disabilities who have actual service animals, because you have to bring your dog everywhere. Mm-hmm. And that drives me nuts. So, if that offends someone, I'm sorry, but if we're talking about somebody who has emotional issues, that's one thing. But when we're talking about people who are wheelchair confined, where the dog literally, like, there's another dog we work with. His name is Leo. He was a lab. We had him for a little while. He legitimately saved his working partner's life at least once that I know of.
Awesome.
His wheelchair got stuck on a street somewhere in Whitewater, Wisconsin, and he was like late at night. There's nobody around for who knows how long, and Leo, basically, he let Leo go, and he went and found somebody and brought help back to him. I mean,
it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and like, it's like I hear this later on, and I'm just like yes, there's another case of this dog is doing exactly what he's put on this planet to do, and and I'm grateful that I had any amount of opportunity to be involved in that. Yeah. So, and at some point, once our kids get older, we'd like to get back into it, but it remains to be seen at this point. And I was even thinking about it too. I have this, after all this news and stuff coming up, I was just like, man, like this would even be an even better opportunity for me to like, be able to take, now working for VMware, take these dogs on airplanes and fly them around the country as I do trips and stuff. Because, that's part of a service dogs training that we did not get to do is airline travel. So, all right,
So
that is
question
my
for you,
soapbox
Britton.
for the day. Yeah.
You said that you are a non-social person, and you were helping train these dogs for WAGs, and they were getting all the attention in public. How did that help you prepare specifically for your job as an SE? Now being, I don't want to say that as an SE or former SE, right? We were kind of the center of attention in the room,
right,
when delivering content to a customer in a one-to-one setting, but there may have been many people from that customer, and or VMUG events, etc., where you're doing a one-to-many type presentation, and now there's not a service dog that's the center of attention. There's the service Britton.
Sure. Yeah, it's a service Britton for sure.
Nice tie-in.
The probably the biggest thing that I learned in doing service dog training that has helped us with all phases of life, including raising kids. It's kind of funny now because my wife and I joke all the time about how raising kids is not at all different from raising service dogs. it's literally the same. And funnily, like we go on vacations and trips with the kids now, and people will compliment us on how well behaved our kids are, which I don't know if that's a reflection on us or what, or just everybody else's kids are that terrible. But like the thing that stuck to both of my wife and I in going through this service dog stuff is teaching something or someone else, but we were really literally teaching a dog how to learn something. And that's half or all of what you're trying to do as an SE is you're teaching somebody how to learn something new. Mm-hmm. And so imagine, trying to teach a dog how to turn on a light switch. You have to break it down in such minute, small steps. Because, you can say to the dog all you want, go turn on the light switch, and the dog's just going to either look at you or walk away. If they've never been taught a step one of how to get there, you have to take it down to this thing of, associating the light switch with something else first, or even just getting them to look at the light switch. Step one is just pay attention to the item that you're trying to get them to do something on, and they will, and you work backwards from that, and then you start working back towards it. And it's cutting a task down into such minute, small details that seem kind of stupid, but when you're teaching, a dog how to learn how to turn on a light switch, that's what it takes. It takes, the ability to kind of break down something extremely complex to the dog and make it simple. And that's sort of what I've tried to take into now being an SE, is taking these extraordinarily complex examples of, how to do virtualized networking, or how to do, security policies and firewalls and all this kind of stuff. Taking it out of that ridiculously complex area and breaking it down into bite-sized, understandable baby steps, kind of, so that people can get there. So that's the main thing. And that was a really long way to get there.
That's interesting. We are currently babysitting a cat, and it is truly like babysitting, because we are finding that it is like having an infant again. The cat always seems to find its way between us and whatever we're doing. right? Either, myself or my wife will be sitting on the couch at the end of the day, either, doing something on our iPad or checking email or something like that, right? And all of a sudden, here comes a cat, plop right between your eyes and the iPad, and you're like, you're hungry for attention. and we're like, we haven't had a baby in the house, and what is my daughter, 7, almost 8 years old, and we're like, they're so foreign to us. We're like, this is so much work.
Yeah. So I hope that answers the question, Kevin. But
yeah, I think it does, and I think it. I had a feeling it was going to be a response, something like that, and I think coming.
I still need to. One of these days, I want to actually build a presentation built around this idea of, how do you teach a dog to turn on a light switch, or open a refrigerator, or close a door, or, and because I feel like, especially in a VMUG setting, communicating, using that idea to then communicate a technical lesson after that would go over really well. Mm-hmm. Because it's just it's
everyone knows how to turn on a light switch, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Or you ask Alexa or Google to do it for you.
Right.
But you had to teach Alexa or Google how to turn it on and off, right?
Yeah.
So no, I think it would be very valuable. Especially if you translate that into virtualized networks as an example.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even Alexa has to learn new skills.
And there's even an automation conversation in there, because this dog Leo, the crazy white Labrador or yellow lab, a guy that he's working for told us a story once where he sleeps with the TV remote like on his bed because he can barely reach it, and he has like really limited movement with his arms, and so like occasionally he'll like while he's sleeping knock it off the bed, and so he's like I know several times that in the middle of the night I will have knocked it off because I'll hear it hit the floor and the noise wakes me up. And he's like, then I'll go back to sleep. I'll wake up an hour later, and the remote is back on the bed.
That's awesome.
So the dog gets the remote, puts it back up there for him, goes back to sleep. I'm like, awesome. Yes, there's automation. Yes.
I think kind of going back to how you relate back to the job, being a new SE, et cetera, I think one thing that's really helped me is my experience as a customer. Not everybody comes into VMware from that perspective. Some people come in from the sales side, or whatever life circumstances brought them to VMware. They may not have the actual customer experience of installation, deployment, day 2 ops kind of thing. And that's really helped me have a lot of conversations where I get a little bit more credibility with the customer, where they're, they see a lot of the things that we talk and they're like, yeah, it's just marketing. Oh, no, it's actually not. I've done it. I've deployed it. I've lived it, and it works. And here's how it works. And here's how, deployment's going to go. And here's how day 2 operations is going to go. And here's how upgrades work. And it's really helped me have, more legitimate conversations with my customers, because I've got that background, and that's really helped me out a lot. It's one of those things that a lot of people I talked to as I was coming on board said would be, one of my greatest assets, and they were definitely not wrong. It's really helped me have some good conversations with customers and helped me out a lot as I've, transitioned and come on board. So,
yeah, I completely agree. Having done it once or multiple times and lived the life of, me personally, I've spent almost 18 months basically hands-on keyboard, either assisting customers deploying Cloud Foundation or assisting them through, adoption or whatnot, right? Mm-hmm. And now I look at everything through the eyes of the customer. When I'm building, tech marketing decks, when I'm building demos, etc. If it's not going to be beneficial for the customer, why demo it, right? If it's back-end plumbing, do you care if it's PVC or if it's PEX? Don't care. Does the water turn on when I need the water to turn on? Does it turn off when I ask it to turn off? Those are the important features that they care about. We went from switching from Cassandra to Postgres. Does the customer care? Should they care? No, right? But it's an important thing for us to maintain a more simplistic foundation or platform to build the product on, right? So yeah, it definitely makes it easier to troubleshoot at the end of the day. Having been literally globally doing all of this stuff, now moving into, thankfully, I will not hit any more than gold status on Delta this year, which is awesome. But it definitely gives you a different perspective going in the trenches with the customer, and being able to have a conversation with the customer and be like, no, this is the way that it is done. I understand your environment. I understand the product. Here's the best way to do it, and give them a holistic solution at the end of the day. So,
yeah, completely agree.
Yeah, it's different too, because majority of the guys in that I know in the NSBU, in the networking security business unit, a lot of them are either former network people or former Cisco people, or they're from that world. And I'm sort of a weird outlier, where I'm coming into this virtual network thing without that kind of baggage, as it were, of how networks have always been done. And so so I'll be entering into conversations with customers talking about everybody wants to do, and everybody in the networking space wants to do Cisco ACI because Cisco is really good at selling ACI, and it's everywhere, and people want to run it. And so everybody kind of, when they start talking to me about it, they instantly think, oh, you're a VMware person, so you must hate ACI, you must hate Cisco. And my general response always is, I really don't care. I mean, first of all, I don't really know that much about Cisco or ACI, so I really can't say anything good or bad about it. And so really realistically, what I can do is tell you what we do really well and why I think it's a better fit. And so, it kind of, it's sort of, at this point at least, is kind of taking the hostileness out of some of the conversations that I'm having, where it's not so much, us versus them. It's more of a, okay, that's one way to do it. Here's another way. And, that I think is, so far, customers are finding a little bit different and refreshing, because, it seems like in technology where we always get caught up into these, everybody likes their stuff, or almost religious debates about technology, and people get so caught up in their camp that they can't break out of that box. Like, you're either all Apple or you're all Microsoft, you're all iOS or you're all Android. There's no middle ground anymore, and it's it's sort of a sad state of affairs, because realistically we're all just trying to solve problems and make business things work, and everything will get it there one way or the other, but which one's the best one for your environment, your mileage may vary. So that's one other thing. I feel like it's kind of a small tangent maybe, but that's another thing that I've been sort of seeing and learning as I'm going through this process of talking to customers about different solutions and the ways to approach and enter conversations.
Yeah, things don't always have to be a competitive, combative conversation. I mean, there's ways that we can work together.
Cool. I think we wanted to wrap this up here pretty quick. So any
Yeah, do you have a 3.9 teaser for us, Kevin?
3.9 teaser?
Yeah.
Let's just say that fiber channel support is now available in Cloud Foundation.
Nice.
Also, multi-instance management. We have streamlined some of the lifecycle management in regards to cluster level patching. Additional support for more composable infrastructure choices, such as Dell MX. There is now a developer center to expose all the API-centric things right in the UI. So you can go ahead and give APIs a try. There has been more APIs extended in this version. And of course, I think PKS 1.5 and NSXT 2.5 support coming in this version as well. So
cool. Well, I think at some point in the near future, we should have another episode and have you and Heath back on and do more, maybe more of a deep dive on that release and kind of go through it a little bit more.
Yeah, multi-instance management for customers that are looking to adopt VCF as a global strategy is huge.
That's pretty cool. Britton, have you seen that yet?
No. There was one other thing I was going to ask before I forget. HP just released something that I thought was a new way for customers to consume VCF. Is that true?
You're talking about GreenLake.
Yeah.
On HP Synergy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you know? Either of you know anything about this? Because I just kind of saw a headline and I didn't really get a lot of details in it.
Yeah, Kevin, you probably take that one.
Yeah, I think it was just Synergy, right? Composable infrastructure on Synergy. Is that what it was?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I'm guessing it is.
So basically, we have two different ways that we can tie into composable infrastructure. We can tie in through the Redfish proxy and be able to direct your server profiles from within VCF. So you can basically say, hey, how much storage do I want, and what does the networking look like for this particular node, right? And you're basically composing through Redfish APIs and proxy, right? The HP Synergy chassis. Now that's going to be extended all the way out to MX, Dell MX platform as a composable infrastructure capability as well.
Okay, is that it? Forgive me if this is a stupid question. Is that akin kind of to like a Dell's VX Rail, or is this sort of just a advanced ready node, this type of a deal?
This is basically you're buying a chassis, right, with a whole bunch of blades in it, and then you'll have a couple of blades that are just CPU and memory on them, right? And then you'll have a blade that is just storage.
Oh, okay.
And then you basically carve up that storage blade and assign it to the additional blades that are in the chassis. If you remember, back 1,000 years ago, right? The Dell Vertex, the way that they did things in there, where you had basically, I think it was 3 or 4 nodes, but you could go down as small as 1 node, and basically you had a storage array that was in there as well. I think they used like Equalogic or something in there. I don't remember the details. That was a minute ago. That was 5 years.
The Vertex.
That was
I remember the
6 years ago.
Vertex.
Yeah.
But it's similar to Vertex, but basically on steroids is what the composable.
The Vertex thing was supposed to be more like an SMB solution.
Yeah, absolutely. We had it, I think, in a few of our customers, but
I want to say Bob Plankers has one for his home lab.
He does have one for his home lab.
Oh, nice.
Yes, he does.
I might need to go knocking on his door.
Yeah, he was telling his power bill is not too great, and he's looking forward to winter coming because now it's going to heat his office instead of making it too warm.
Well, I can lament with him on power bills right now. Mine's plus $250 to $300 a month since I've had my rack in my house. So.
Yeah, but you should have consolidated, saved quite a bit when you moved to the 11th generation, right?
Well, I have.
Did you go all 720s or? Oh, you upgraded again.
Yeah, I have 720. No, I have two 720s and 8 630s right now.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Nothing like a physical VCF lab in your basement.
Yeah, I've got a nested one.
I got both.
Yeah.
Right now I have sort of a funky Frankenstein lab running where I've got NSX V and T running in the same environment. So that's fun.
Hey, it's like VCF.
Yeah. But one of these days I need to work with you guys and get VCF and vSAN turned on. I still haven't done anything with that.
Yeah, quick plug on the VCF nested side is tiny.cc/get VLC. You can sign up for the nested VMware Cloud Foundation Lab Constructor. And we have a whole dedicated Slack instance for support if you're looking to spin it up in your home lab. So
yes, I saw a few guys tweeting about that the other day.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
it's like another part-time job.
Yeah, that's
but
Slack
that
channel.
One's just all for the community.
Yep, that one is vlc-support.slack.com for that Slack channel.
Yes, but you have to sign up for it through the link because then you get the permalink that we established to be able to do invite to any domain. Otherwise, if you just go to vlc-support.slack.com, you won't be able to sign up for the Slack channel.
Gotcha. If somebody wants to find that, what's the easiest way to find that, Kevin?
Which one?
How they get signed up?
Sure, it's tiny.cc/get, all lowercase, capital V, capital L, capital C.
Okay.
And that will bring you to our Google form. Basically, you pop in just like 2 pieces of information, I think, name, email address, and what you want to use it for. And then once you submit the form, you'll get the Dropbox link to download the nested lab constructor. And you'll also get the link to log into the Slack channel. Okay. That's the easiest way to get signed up for that. So
cool.
Yeah, and Ben Sire and I went through that when I was at my Dallas boot camp, and we got it running one night while everybody was drinking at the bar. We got it up and running in my home lab.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely a time saver. I generally have anywhere between 4 and 8 nested labs running on my hardware. So, especially with multi-instance management as a feature that came out. So, I was busy testing.
Nice. Is the 3.9 going to be a while yet, I assume, to get into VLC?
It is up and running and supported already.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Same day support. We were testing it a few weeks ahead of time. So
can you pick different versions for it to deploy?
So you download your Cloud Builder appliance, whatever version Cloud Builder you'd like. So if you want 3.9, right, go ahead and download the Cloud Builder appliance for 3.9. And then you have to download the associated ESXi build. So the easiest way to find out what the associated ESXi build is, there's a KB article. I'm just going to give you the number here in a half a second. I use this KB article on a daily basis. It is 52520. It's just a VMware KB, and what it does is it correlates all the versions of VCF and what the shipping versions of each supporting product is in there. 3.9 isn't out there yet. However, it is. It looks like it's due in to be published here in the next day or two, just as they pull the bomb and whatnot. This is not a real-time update. It is a post-release update on this form. However, the BOM for ESXi is the same as it was for 3.8.1.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm going to take advantage of the LCM automation and see for myself how that process works to upgrade mine. I'm still on 3.8.
Oh, yeah. Just quick authentication with your My VMware credentials and be able to apply your updates. In a nested environment, you will get vSAN errors, obviously. because the controller isn't on the supported list.
Yep.
However, just visit us over on the Slack channel, and we can get you fixed up with editing some configuration files, so that way vSAN looks healthy from an LCM perspective.
Awesome. Cool. Let's land this plane.
Yeah. Okay, John. So one last little update thing. I finally got to meet at the Chicago VMUG Mr. Kyle Ruddy. Nice. And chatted with him briefly about coming on the show. He's all for it. So I'm going to work on getting him on the schedule. And, as has been requested by a few people now, we were going to try to record these during the day. So as I can find calendar slots for people, I'm just going to start spamming calendar appointments out probably on Fridays, because it seems like, Fridays are a little bit slower for most people. So we'll try to get those out. Again, who knows when we'll actually do this in the next month or two, because I'm going to be a traveling madman for the next 2 months, even into December. So we'll do our best to get these out, but yeah, I may have to see if I can get Cody DeArkland and Kyle on together, because I think those two guys, it'd be interesting just to listen to them talk to each other.
Yeah, be a fly on the wall for that one.
Because you and I will need some help, because coding and Power CLI and all that stuff is.
We'll need translators.
Yeah. So yeah, I suppose technically Kyle's already 2 guests, because he's got himself and the beard. So
that's true.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys, for jumping on last minute and getting something out here in October for us. And Kevin, thank you for being willing to stop your home improvement project and get things rolling.
You're welcome. So, the home boss might not be as happy with you, but
yeah. And we kept it short.
Yeah, I'll bring some cookies by or something at some point. All right. Thanks, guys. Everybody will talk to you all later.
Later.
Bye.
Later.